Hello everyone. Welcome you all to the Investment Management class. I am Impa Biliappa, Associate Professor, Department of Management Sciences, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. Previously, we have discussed certain concepts pertaining to Unit 3, where it deals with the bond management strategies, bond valuation, bond duration. We dealt about the preference shares, its concept, features, yield, and also equity shares, its concepts, valuation, and dividend valuation models. And then we have also started Unit 4, which has two combination of topics. That is, one is fundamental analysis and another one is technical analysis. Okay, in fundamental analysis, Nagesh sir have done about the macro factors, that is macroeconomic factors, industry analysis, and in a company analysis, we call it as EIC framework, that is economic, industry and company, that is the EIC framework, where we discussed about various factors which influence the share prices, and also it might be the industrial factors, or it might be the company's ratios and financial statements which influences the share prices. So in the same way, we have technical analysis. So in today's class, we'll be discussing and we'll be knowing what is technical analysis, what is the concept of technical analysis, and what are the different assumptions which are considered in the technical analysis. And we'll learn what are its merits and demerits, that is advantages and disadvantages. Then we'll learn two of its technical theories, which is Dow theory and Elliott-Wave theory. Okay, so let's begin with the concept. Why do we have to do the technical analysis and how we are going to do the technical analysis? So the comparison between fundamental and technical, I'll tell you at the end, so that you can understand what is the difference. But till then, let's know the meaning of technical analysis. So technical analysis explains and forecasts the changes of security prices by studying only the market data. So fundamental analysis, they are going to consider three factors like economic, industry and company. But in technical analysis, they are going to consider the historical prices, that is the past market share prices, and they are going to estimate it for the future, that is they are going to forecast it for the future. So it is like they are going to consider the past price and volume information, that is the number of shares which is being traded, that we call it as volume, and predict the share prices movements, like whether in the future, near future, maybe in 1 month, 2 months, or by tomorrow, whether it would increase or come down. Okay, fundamentally technical, it shows the graphical representation where the investor's sentiment and both greed and fear, everything is being represented. Okay, it is used for short-term trading as well as long-term trading. So technical analysis is basically used, it's a graphical method in order to forecast the future prices. Okay, coming to the assumptions of technical analysis. So the different assumptions of technical analysis are: the first one, the market value is solely determined by the interaction of demand and supply. So the meaning of this is, if there is demand for a particular share or a particular stock, then the share prices will go up because the demand is high and the supply would be definitely low. Okay, and if the supply is high, then automatically the share prices will come down. So we have before doing this technical analysis, we have to assume that the market value of the shares is determined by the demand and supply of supply interaction. Okay, that is the combination of demand and supply. Okay, the second assumption is market discounts everything. So whatever information you get in the market, it can be represented in the stock markets. Okay, if there is some information, the next chapter is related to that itself, where we learn about the random walk theory. In random walk theory, we have three forms like strong form, semi-strong form and weak form, and all the forms, it is about the information which influences the market. Okay, whether all the information influences the market and causes the change in the price, or it is only the public information which is causing the changes in the share prices, or whether it is only the historical prices, historical information which is causing changes in the share prices. So this is what we call as random walk theory. So market discounts anything means any new information you just pose it, you just let out to the public, automatically it will have an impact on the stock market. Either if the information is positive enough, then automatically your share prices will increase. If the information is negative, then it decreases. So whatever information is let out to the public or new, it has an impact on the stock market. That is market discounts, everything. You might have observed if there is elections, there is change in the stock market, that is huge changes. Okay, then if there is a budget announcement which is going to happen, then there are changes. If any the important or key person of the country or key person of a company is if he loses his life, then it has an impact. If there is a scam in any of the companies, then it has an impact. Any information you get that will directly have an impact on the stock markets. And then you have the third assumption is share price moves in trends. So moves in trends in the sense they have a particular pattern. So they follow that particular pattern, and the theories which I have told you, that is Dow theory and Elliott-Wave theory, these two theories are going to tell about this movement of prices. Okay, when I explain there, I'll tell you about it. So share prices move in trend means they have a particular pattern of movement and they normally follow that pattern. This is an assumption which we are making. Okay, then history repeats. So normally at homes, if your elder elder parents are there, grandparents, great grandparents, if they're at home, they normally say this, that history repeats. Whatever happens in the whatever happened in the past, that will again be repeated. The styles, and you might have seen the old films, the trend and style which was there in the old era, that is now been implemented, or that is brought into new trend. In the same way, whatever share prices which has changed and the fluctuations in the market and the scenario what's happening, that will also repeat. So history repeats. Whatever has happened in the past, that will also be a part in the future. Okay, that is history repeats. And then some of the chart patterns tend to repeat themselves. I have told you about the Elliott-Wave theory. No, I'll tell in detail there. But here, some of the chart patterns, there are different kinds of chart patterns. That chart patterns will have an, it's like a replica. The halfway will be the same as the other half. Okay, so that is, the trends tend to repeat. So these are certain assumptions of technical analysis. So you can, till now we have finished the concepts and assumptions. Next is advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so any theory, any factor you take, there will be advantages, and along with that, there will be disadvantages too. So coming to the advantages, so here advantages are like the technical analysis tool can be used in any market, okay, any market or for any underlying asset. So the underlying asset might be the commodity, shares or anything, but the technical analysis can be applied to any underlying asset under any market. Okay, that is a major advantage. And then once you do the technical analysis, it takes care about the fundamental analysis too. So once you do the technical analysis, fundamental analysis is free along with it, because there are certain factors which need to be analyzed in the past prices. The same factors will be considered, in the stock price fluctuations at the time when we compare the historical prices. So fundamental factors are also covered, and along with that, technical factors are also there. Okay, and another advantage is it is like a tool which helps the hedgers, speculators and investors. So investors are the people who normally invest for a longer duration of time, and speculators are the people who are looking into for short term profits, and hedgers are they are normally people who want to curb the inflation, who don't want to put themselves into the inflation changes, so they want to keep their business safe. So it might be helpful it is helpful for hedgers, speculators and investors. Okay. Then other advantages helps in understanding market psychology. So it's in like an analysis where the market psychology can be understood, where the share prices, at what situation and what time the share prices increases, and at what time and what situation the share prices decrease. So it is very easy to understand the market psychology. Okay, and they also help in forecasting. I told you, no. So whatever economic forecasting you're planning to do, so it is easy and helpful for that. So it might be the any kind of market or any kind of asset, fundamental analysis concepts is added. It is helpful for all category of investors like hedgers, speculators and investors, and it's easy to understand the market psychology, and it will help you to forecast for the future. These are certain advantages of technical analysis. Okay. Next, let's move on to the limitations, or you can call it as disadvantages or demerits of technical analysis. Okay. Coming to the demerits, so it is like, it is not a deterministic theory, it's an probabilistic study. Okay. Probabilistic study means, when you say probabilistic, the probable term is there. It may happen, may not happen. You're not sure. Okay. If you're sure, then we call it as deterministic study. If you're not sure and you have a you tend to have a confusion, then we call it as probabilistic study. Okay. So here technical analysis is a probabilistic study where we are going to analyze or forecast the prices for the future, but not sure whether it is going to happen. Okay. Then you have your chart patterns. Chart patterns are very subjective in nature. They keep on changing, and it's very difficult to identify what kind of chart pattern is this. So that is also a kind of limitation. And this does not work accurately for illiquid markets. So this is only for liquid markets, and where the underlying asset with a controlled regime. If any underlying asset is there with a controlled regime, and if the assets are liquid, then only the market works. Not suitable much for illiquid markets. Okay. Then you have, the situations keep on changing. So you are not sure that whatever had happened in the past will definitely happen in the future. So it is like you're in a dilemma that whatever has happened in the past may occur in the future or not, you're not sure of. So past is just an indicator of the future, where we cannot determine what the accurate future will be. Okay. Then you have random walk theory. I told you about the disadvantages. Yes, the information flow in the market. So that is also one of the disadvantage, where any information which comes in the country or world or in the different stock exchanges or the political, legal, any kind of information, it definitely have an impact on your stock markets. So this is random walk theory. Then you have contradicting views of different indicators. So there are different technical tools like Dow theory or lot trading, and you have breadth of the market, oscillators. Like this, you have different technical tools, and sometimes these technical tools will differ in their views. One of the technical tool might might advise the investor to buy, and another technical tool might advise the investor to sell. So there are sometimes contradictory statements which are given by the technical tools. Okay. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of technical analysis. So till now we have discussed the concepts, assumptions, advantages and disadvantages. Let's move on to the next one, technical theories. So as per your syllabus, there are two different theories which is given for you all. So in that, let's discuss the first one, which is Dow theory. Okay, Dow theory is very famous, and this is developed by Charles H. Dow, and it is refined by few people like William Hamilton, and then articulated by Robert Ray. And Dow theory addresses not only technical analysis but also the price actions, okay, like market philosophy, Okay, they are going to analyze, and many of the ideas and comments which is put forth by Dow, okay, and Hamilton both together, they are now the statements, axioms of Wall Street. They are the statements of Wall Street. Okay, hope so you all know what is Wall Street. Okay, then there are certain assumptions, that is hypothesis of this Dow theory, very important. There are three hypotheses of this Dow theory. First one, no individual can influence the market. Okay, like if you have to say no individual can influence the market, means if any one person is going to buy the shares in bulk or sell the shares in bulk, that will not have a greater impact on the market. Okay, so here one person, he cannot change the way the market is moving, the trend towards which it is moving. He cannot change the trend. Like if the share prices are continuously shooting upwards, one individual cannot make the entire stock market or indices to come down. It's difficult. That is the hypothesis. That is the first one. No individual, that is one person, can influence the market. Okay. Second one. So, second one is market discounts everything. Any information which is put forth, it is immediately having an impact on the stock market. So, positive information positively having an impact. Negative information negatively it has an impact. Okay. And the third important hypothesis is this theory is not to beat the market, it is just to understand the market. So, by doing technical analysis, you cannot say that yes, I have done technical analysis, I am 200% sure that the prices will go up. You cannot say that, because this tool will just help you out. Will help you out in understanding how are the market or share price movements. This will not give you assurance that you will earn profit or the prices will come down. They will not give you any kind of assurance. So, these are the three hypotheses. So, hypothesis is one is that is no individual will influence the market. Another one is market discounts everything. And the third one, it is a tool not to beat the market. It is just a tool to understand the market better. Okay. So, in Dow theory, there are various trends. So, the trends are categorized into three categories: primary trend, secondary trend and minor trend. These are the three different trends. So, when we have to say primary trend, let's discuss what is a primary trend. So, I will write here primary trend, secondary trend and minor trend. So, when we say primary trend, Dow compares the major, that is the primary trend, to tides. That is when you go to a beach, so you get different types of waves. Some are tides, some are ripples, some are waves. So, there is different categories. So, tide in the sense huge waves which are coming to you, that we call it as a tide. Okay. So, here the Dow has compared the primary trend to waves, means you have large and broader share price movements. Okay. You have a very huge fluctuation of share prices in a broader length and a bigger length. Okay. So, that is the reason they have compared this to tide. So, here what happens is, where the major uptrend is represented by the patterns of rising peak. Okay, as the peak is rising, in the same way it is being represented, and the downward trend is for troughs. Okay, a major trend is normally from a year to several years. So, when you have to call a primary trend, this trend is from more than a period, that is more than a year, to it might be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, like that, to more. Okay, and normally in the bull market, so hope you know bull market and bear market, I explained this earlier too. So, in the bull market, all the prices will go upward, okay, but in the bear market, they have a downtrend. So, this is an example of bull market, and when it comes down, then we call it as a bear market. Okay, and the representation extreme what we speak about or extensive movements on the either side at least will be 20% changes in the prices. So if it is 100 rupees, then either it is 120 or it is 80. So there will be 20% changes in the price, and normally long term investors are relying on the primary trend reversals. They're concerned more about the primary trend and its reversals, and they will try to catch up with the bull and bear market. And if you get a trend like this, okay, there are I'll show you with the help of chart. Suppose if the share price movements are like this in the primary trend, then this is the bull market. Okay, this is a bull market. Okay, in the initial stages, it is revival of market conditions. It means that the market conditions are being better. It is becoming better. Okay, and the next level, once the market conditions are stabilized, then the company is going to earn profit. So, good corporate returns. So, you can expect some good corporate returns, means you are getting profit for there is profit for the company, and in turn the investors are also benefiting. At the third level, when it reaches for speculation. So, speculators are the people who normally make investment for shorter period of time. So, that is speculation. These are the three reasons where in the bull market the chances of increasing the prices, like the trend which is moving, it will move upwards due to these three reasons. One is the revival of the market confidence, that once it falls, then they need to build up the confidence, that is market confidence, and then they are going to concentrate on the corporate returns, and last one is speculation. The same thing if it is bear market. Bear market, the shares will see, you can see the bottoms. It is here you can see the tops, and here you can see the bottoms. Okay, this is due to again three phases. You can say phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Here the first one is loss of hope. Oh, the prices are rapidly coming down. Oh, what will happen to my share prices? The thoughts which you get, that is loss of hope. You're not having any hope that it will again raise up and make profit. Okay. Then next is recession in business. Due to the reduction in share prices, the business might tend to collapse. If it is not strong enough, then the business might tend to collapse. So, recession in business. Then last one is distress selling. So, distress selling is where you're fed up and you don't want to continue further, and you say, no, I will give up and I'll just sell my shares, and entire the public, they'll concentrate on the entire investors, they'll concentrate on selling their shares. That is distress selling, means they get frustrated and make a decision for sales. Okay. So, these two are the bull market and bear market reasons for primary trend. There are, in this only I will just tell, there are three types of trends: raising trend, flat trend and falling trend. So, this is an example of raising trend. Here you can see the changes. The tops are also in the upward direction and the bottoms are also in the upward direction. So, that is a raising trend. Here you can see this is an example of falling trend. So, falling trend in the sense the second bottom is lesser than the, second top is lesser than the first top, third top is less than the second top, even the bottoms also it is the same case. So, this is falling trend. Flat trend in the sense when you have equal trends like this in the bottoms and the tops, then we call it as flat trend. Okay, these trends will normally come in primary market, secondary market and even, primary trend, secondary trend and minor trend too. Okay, let's move on. Probably this you have understood the primary trend. Let's move on to the second one, which is the secondary trend. Okay, Now, what do you mean by secondary trend? Secondary trend is also known as intermediate trend. Okay, secondary trend is also known as intermediate trend. So, Dow compares this intermediate trend to waves. I told you, no, primary trend is considered to be tides and secondary trend is considered to be waves. Waves are the regular ones we get when we go to the beach side. Okay, and they represent correction in the primary trend. So, whatever primary trend is there, they correct it and move on to the secondary. That is, a correction trend is there. An intermediate trend generally falls, that is between 3 weeks to 3 months. In that range, if it is there, we call it as secondary trend or intermediate trend. And they have this 1/3 and 2/3 concept. If it's bull market, okay, 2/3 it will go up, 1/3 it will come down, again 2/3 it will go up, 1/3 it will come down, and 2/3 it will go up, 1/3 it will come down. So, this is a bull market trend. 1/3 and 2/3 it is like 33.33334 and 2/3 in the sense 66.66667. So, this is how the percentage is divided if you want to do it in percentage, or if it's fraction then it's 1/3 and 2/3. And if it is a bear market, then the trend 1/3 it will go up, 2/3 it will fall down, 1/3 it will go up, 2/3 it will fall down, 1/3 it will go up, 2/3 it will fall down. So, that is how the trend moves. Okay, the falling trend will be more and rising trend will be less in bear, whereas it is vice versa in bull. Okay, the third one is minor trend or short term trend. These trends are compared to ripples. Ripples are the short waves which just once you go to the beach side, it comes, appears and touch your feet and go back. Okay, those are called ripples, small waves. Okay, that's the reason it is for short term trends. So, these minor trend represents the fluctuations in the intermediate trend, and it is vice versa for the intermediate too. And a minor trend lastly for less than 3 weeks. Secondary trend starts from 3 weeks to 3 months, whereas minor trend start from day to less than for a 3 weeks period of time. So, if you have to it is, Dow has said it is better to focus on the major trends. These are very minute changes which is going to happen. So, this is about the Dow theory. Dow theory, we have discussed the concept, we have discussed the as a hypothesis, and then we have discussed the trends, primary trend, intermediate trend, and minor trend. Next theory is Elliott wave theory. Okay, the name itself tells who has developed it. I need not tell you all, but even then, this is named after Raphael Nelson Elliott. This was in 28 July 1871 he was born, and then he passed on 15 January 1948. He was an American accountant and author who was very much interested in the stock market. He was inspired by the Charles Dow and his theory, and observed and found out that Elliott he wanted to do something more in the wave theories. Okay, so Elliott concluded that the movement of stock market could be predicted by observing and identifying the repetitive pattern of waves. Repetitive pattern, I said, no, one half of the waves is same replicated in another half, that is repetitive. The waves could be repetitive in nature. So, Elliott tried to identify the repetitive pattern of waves. Okay, he was able to analyze the market in a deeper way, identifying special characteristics of the wave pattern and making detailed market prediction based on the patterns. So, what are these patterns? I will tell you later, but he drew certain patterns through which he was able to identify the trend. okay, what kind of pattern it is. And he worked on the Dow theory as the basic and defined price movement in terms of waves. And Elliott discovered that it is fractal nature of waves, okay, nature in the market movement, it is fractal. So Elliott published his first book, that is the wave principle, in 1938, which tells you about the wave pattern. So it is about that, okay. And now what is this wave pattern, that you need to understand, right? Okay. Now to understand the wave pattern, the movement or direction of the trend, that is unfolding in 5 and 3. So this 5 and 3 means so 5 and 3 in the sense, 5 waves are called as motive waves or impulsive waves. For example, just see here. This you can take the example of, 1 minute. This you can take the example of 5 waves, okay, while they have again 3 corrective waves. Here you can see that the share prices are increasing, and now these are the corrective waves. He named it as 1, 2, let me make it small, I hope it is visible for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the impulsive waves or motive waves, okay. To correct the trend, he has again 3 waves, which he named it as ABC. So the impulsive waves or motive waves, he named it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are 5 waves in a trend. And the corrective waves, it is 3, that is, he has named it as A, B, C in the opposite direction. Okay, this is what I have drawn for bull market. So for bear market, it is vice versa. So there are 5 waves going down and 3 corrective waves. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and now you have A, B and C. So here you can see the bear market, where downward trend is 5 waves, which is the motive waves or impulsive waves you can call, and upward trend ABC is corrective waves. The 3 waves are labeled as ABC, and the 5 waves in the direction is known as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These patterns can be seen in long term as well as short term charts. Actually, they'll not tell what kind of chart it is or what kind of trend it is, but you have to just understand it by seeing the graph. Okay. For the same one, you can see the chart. In Elliott's model, he says that the market price alternates between an impulsive or motive phase and a corrective phase on all the time scales the trend. Okay, like there is a change. If it is going upwards, definitely it will come down 3 waves down, or else if it is going down, definitely it will go up by 3 waves up. Okay, impulsive are always subdivided in the set of 5 lower degree waves, altering again between motive and corrective character, so that the waves are 1, 3 and 5 are impulsive, and wave 2 and 4 are smaller retraces of waves 1 and 3, like it is like for adjustment. Okay, you can see the chart here, where wave 1, 3, 5 are the motive waves, and they are subdivided into 5 smaller degree impulsive labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Wave 2 and 4, here I am speaking about the small Roman numbers, okay, the bullet points, that is 1 and 5 and V, which we use the same one. Okay, and wave 2 and 4 are the corrective waves, and they are subdivided into 3 smaller degree waves labeled as A, B, C. So the 5 wave move in the wave of the direction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and make up a large degree of motive wave of 1. Corrective waves are subdivided into 3 smaller degree waves denoted as A, B, C. So corrective waves start with a 5 wave counter trend impulsive wave A, you can see here, and retrace wave B, okay, and another impulse wave, wave C. And the 3 waves A, B, C make up a larger degree of corrective wave. So this concept you might feel confusing, but it's quite easy to understand. Just as simple as that, you just understand this. Whenever it is bull trend, it is 5 waves up, 3 waves down. Okay, whenever it is bear trend, 5 waves down, 3 waves up. And the 5 waves are known as impulsive and or motive waves, which is named as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 3 waves are known as corrective waves, which we have named it as A, B, C. Okay, this if you just understand, that's more than enough. And in Elliott wave theory, the different categories are there. I put the category here, you can see. If it is, they have categorized as grand supercycle, supercycle, cycle, preliminary, intermediate, minor, minute and subminute. Okay, so like this they have categorized. So here grand supercycle is Roman letter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and that is long waves like this. Then you have the supercycle, slightly smaller than that, and then you have the third one, which is only the cycle, that is even more smaller, and then you have primary trends with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and W, X, and Y. Okay, then you have intermediary trend, slightly smaller than the primary, minor trend, slightly again smaller than that. Then you have minute trend, minute to minute trend details it gives. Then minute trend, sub-minute trend. Okay, like this the Elliott wave forecast is divided into 3, 6, 9 categories. Okay, 9 categories it is divided, that is grand supercycle, supercycle, cycle, primary, intermediate, minor, minute, minute and subminute. Okay, so whenever you do the Elliott wave theory, it is to identify the cycle and analyze the position of the wave within the overall progress of the market. So they will consider the entire progress of the market and they will try to do this. Total 9 degree of waves from the grand cycle to subminute. From you can say that usually it follows weekly, monthly, minute to minute framework, which is minute hours in that from a second to minute to hour to week to month. This kind of scale is identified in Elliott wave theory. So Dow theory is comparatively easy to understand than Elliott wave theory, but it is these are all simple concepts and important question. Assumptions and theories are important in this unit. So let's conclude and overall what we have done today. In today's class we have done the meaning of technical analysis, where we are going to predict the future share prices with the help of past share prices. Considering the past market data, you are going to predict the future prices. Okay, and we have certain assumptions for that. The assumptions are history will repeat itself, and the second assumption is market discounts everything, and the third assumption is you have certain chart patterns which are tend to repeat themselves, and share prices always move in trend. Okay, and all the prices of the market will have an they'll change with the interaction of demand and supply. Okay, these are the assumptions. Then advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, you can use it for all kinds of tools, and all kinds of market and all kinds of instruments, and it takes care of fundamental analysis also, and it is helpful for hedgers and speculators. Then it is helpful in economic forecasting and understanding the market psychology. Disadvantages, we have learned that it is a probabilistic study and not deterministic. There are different chart patterns and there are contradictory views also. All the information is represented on the market, and it will have changes will be there due to that, and only past information cannot be used for analyzing the future or predicting the future. And we have learnt about the technical theories. We have learnt about the Dow theory and its three important hypotheses where market discounts everything. Then history repeats itself. And third one was it's a tool to beat the market, and not it is not a tool to beat the market. It is just a tool to understand the market. Then we have learnt about the trends, primary trend, secondary trend, and minor trend, which are compared to tides, waves, and ripples. Okay, and the pattern in which it moves: rising trend, falling trend, and flat trend. Okay, then in Dow theory we learned about that's it about Dow. Then Elliott wave theory we learned, that is about the Raphael Nelson's Elliott wave theory, and he says that the pattern will normally be 5 and 3. 5 are impulsive or motive waves and 3 are corrective waves. This is in the bull market. It goes up, 5 waves up and 3 waves down, and in the bear market 5 waves down and 3 waves up. Okay, that is about the Elliott wave theory. He has considered that waves into 9 categories, from a sub-minute to a grand super cycle. So hope so you have understood in today's class whatever theory I have done. So next concepts are about charts. So meet you in the next class. Thank you.